Hi guys, so we talked about hyperacidity last time in short, so we are going to go more in detail but in few further videos. Before that, I want to talk about diet. Most of us today are obsessed with eating non-vegetarian food because of protein, because of fat and everything. And there are so many trends coming, so many people explaining why protein is good, this and that, and we are missing the most important part is where our body is not able to accept that food because it is not designed to accept protein that are meat based or protein which is fish based. So because of that we suffer from a lot of problem in later age than current young generation. So we think that that is the food I'm supposed to eat, and that if I don't eat that food then I will suffer from a lot of disorders. I will start having a lot of protein deficiency, this and that. But to be honest, when you suffer from a disorder in a later stage, on 30 years 40 years later, it is because we are consuming wrong food right now. So the body is trying to adjust itself but it is not able to do it in the long run, so the things pile up, and this piling up results in lot of health issues. You can go through one of my blog on our website mentioned below that explains how in older time people with different varna used to consume different food, and why they were consuming different food, and how food would determine what job you are supposed to do, what work you are supposed to do, and what work also determines what kind of food you are supposed to consume. Let us not dive into that, but let's go into most basic details on how our body should, what our body should consume. First, our body is not designed to eat non-vegetarian food like cats, dogs, or tiger. So we are supposed to eat vegetarian food. Now, most of the people will go completely against this because there are so many researches that talk about how the protein is important, how omega 3, how all the fats and everything is necessary for the body. But to be honest, just go into common sense, just look at the nature, and you will find the answers, because the nature always gives you the answers. This, our brain and our desire to eat different variety of food makes us think that okay, what we are consuming is right, and that meat, fish is good for the body. So let us start from the most superficial part, that is our lips. So if you observe all the animals that are drinking water with their lips, you will notice all are herbivores. Herbivores like cows, horses, they drink water with their lips and not with their tongue. So those animals that consume water with their tongue are mainly carnivores. So they have very little amount requirement of water. So their body is designed to just suffice with little amount of water. So the tongue is just sweeping against the water and it is enough. Later on, second thing that we can observe in animals is that the teeth. The teeth are always straight in herbivores and canine in carnivores. So when I say canine, most people will completely go against it. They said like we have canine teeth, so we are carnivores. No. When I say canine tooth, it is not just one tooth. All the teeth of a tiger are sharp. They have this slicing nature. They are not flat. They are not having a flat teeth behind. From wisdom tooth all the way to the incisors, every tooth is flat in herbivores, and in carnivores they are sharp. That is what I mean by canine, because most people will argue that oh, I have canine, even I have canine, so I'm supposed to be carnivore. But I never use this to bite any meat. I'm not able to, because it is by accident, because we have evolved from chimpanzees and they tend to have this. But now they are all developed into herbivores. Okay, so this is about the teeth. So if you consume carnivore food, then you will start damaging your teeth, and this damage of your teeth is due to too much of force. It might lead to gum inflammation, etc. We don't see it in early stage because our body has tremendous amount of capacity to adjust to whatever we are throwing at it. After that, we go to the jaw. If you notice the jaw of a herbivore, it is able to move sideways like this. A carnivore is not able to do that. They have a locked jaw. They are only able to grab, snatch, and they are basically slicing the meat, tuck, 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 like that. So they are not chewing them and mixing with saliva, because that is not the nature of a carnivore. They are just slicing as far as fast as possible and consuming it, because that is all they need to digest the meat. Okay, so our our gums or our jaw is not able to grab those kind of meat. If we try to eat raw meat without cook, then it is going to damage our jaws. We are going to tear our jaws, and we start developing TMG kind of problems. So this is the mouth. Inside the mouth, saliva, we talked about this in our previous video also. The saliva of a herbivore is able to digest carbohydrates, and the saliva of a carnivore is able to digest meat, which is amino acid. So if you take your saliva and you try to digest meat in it, it is not able to do it. So the partial digestion, which is very essential to prevent any damage to your stomach, is done in your mouth, and we are not able to do it. That is why the food is going in your stomach undigested when you consume meat or fish. Hence, it is very essential that you understand the anatomy of the body first, and then we go further into the details. Let's move on to further to esophagus. So esophagus in herbivores and carnivores is again different. In herbivores, the esophagus has this movement of pushing food down. So it has this movement where the food, which is in kind of a ball, because herbivores, when they eat the food, it kind of forms into a ball, and it is because of chewing, it forms a ball and it is pushed in the esophagus with this movement. So as it moves down slowly, then it is gone to the stomach, it is sent to the stomach. While in carnivores, because they are galloping a whole chunk of mass, they don't have this pushing movement in the esophagus. It is a straight canal, but it is like literally drop down in the esophagus. So further, as we move to the stomach is where the main digestion occurs. So stomach is very essential to determine if you are a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian. So in herbivores, you can notice that the stomach lining is designed in such a way that it produces acid or bile juice, which is efficient in digesting carbohydrates and fats. While in animals, most of the juices that are produced are designed to digest amino acid. So again, here we can see the difference, that the pH level of the stomach is different for different animals. The pH of a normal herbivore is slightly higher than the pH of a carnivore. So again, here you can make a difference, that a herbivore is like humans, any cow, animal, all have the same ability to digest vegetarian diet, that is carbohydrate and to some extent bile juice, which helps in digesting the fats. While amino acid is more for animals which are carnivores, which are specialized in eating meat products, which are not cooked, they are directly raw eaten. After this, we move on to the intestine. So in the intestine, you will notice that if you consider the length of the intestine first, the length of the intestine in herbivores is very long. The length can be in meters and meters and meters, while in carnivores it's very short, a few meters length and it is over. Why is it so? Because in herbivores, the food that is eaten, carbohydrates, fats, all this food is assimilated in such a way, it is digested in such a way that it has to be absorbed, every aspect of it. There are very few parts of vegetarian diets which are actually thrown out of the body. Only the fibers or the leftovers is actually thrown out of the body, and most of the thing, even the minor of the nutrients, are absorbed in their body. So our body requires that much of energy, body requires that much of nutrient from a vegetarian diet, variety of nutrients from minerals to fat, carbohydrates, and even proteins. The vegetarian proteins are need to be properly absorbed. That is why the intestine has this long duration of absorption process, so that every detail, everything is absorbed. While in carnivores, what happens is there is not much to do. It is just amino acids. So amino acids and fats are very easy to absorb, and they don't require that much of duration of time to absorb. So a short intestine is enough for carnivores. Again, when this comes to eating the food that we eat today, meat. So this meat that we eat today has also a lot of toxicity in it. They have a lot of chemicals involved in growing those meat in the farms, in the what do you call, broilers, or everywhere. So this process where they inject chemicals, these chemicals which are part of those animals, part of their flesh, is also getting absorbed, because our intestine are designed to minutely absorb all these bad things as well. So it becomes part of your system, and you can suffer from so many disorders like cancer, like autoimmune diseases, etc. So it is very essential you understand the anatomy of the body and not take into granted that okay, it's protein, we require protein, we eat meat protein. No, protein is very essential, but the protein that we consume has to be calculated. We require protein that can be absorbed, that can be properly digested, that can be utilized by our body. So the protein that comes from the vegetarian diet is, if our body is properly able to digest them, absorb them, while that coming from the meat industry is not properly digested. Hence, half of it is actually wasted. It has to be thrown out from the body. Apart from this, let us talk in detail about the protein that the body actually absorbs. So the protein that you get, that we think that we get from the meat, where does it come from? That is the most important question. The protein that is consumed by the animals that we eat is coming from plants again. So you become a tertiary consumer of those proteins. So half of it is wasted by the animals, and they have to be broken down. The meat that we are consuming from a pig, for a ham, from a goat, is already utilized by the animals. So it has to be broken down in our body and reassembled according to the requirement of the body. So the body doesn't absorb the protein directly. That is another misunderstanding most people have, that we take the meat protein, our body will absorb the meat protein, use the meat protein. So in short, the amino acids that are absorbed in the body can be from any form, and the best will be if it doesn't come at a cost. So vegetarian food like dal or grams, or like chana, or all those things which have protein high content. Cashew, for example, also has high protein content. Mushroom to some extent has protein content also. So these things also have chances to be absorbed in the body and used properly for development of the body, rather than harming the body in the process. Let us move to the large intestine. So in the large intestine, the gut bacteria, or the gut which is responsible for again absorption of this nutrient, the remains of the nutrient, that is water content mainly, or some byproducts that are probably needs to be thrown out, are kind of digested and taken care in the large intestine. So in a herbivore large intestine, you will notice that whatever excess protein, we require very minimal amount of protein compared to the carnivore. So this excess amount of protein, even 1 gram, is actually thrown out in the large intestine. That results in the something called flatulence, or we call it fart. So this is what actually, when you eat too much of protein, you will feel that you'll have foul smell in your toilet also, and it is not getting properly thrown out of the fibers are not enough for a proper excretion of this waste product. So fibers, where does it come from? The fibers is what keeps the waste, the excreta, into a compact state, and that helps in pushing, propelling it out. So this fiber is very essential, and it comes from the vegetables that you eat. So fibrous food helps in pushing the waste out of your large intestine. So it is very essential that you have to understand how this is. Like this video, share it to your friends and family who have this misconception about diet, and also do subscribe to our channel and follow all the videos that we are coming up soon, and keep watching. Thank you.